Have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered what secrets it holds? What if I told you there are creatures amongst us, hidden in plain sight, that possess extraordinary beauty and secrets beyond our wildest imagination? Today, we crack the code of the secret society of Birdese. Top 20 rarest ever filmed, right here. Like, subscribe, and comment about these feathered marvels. Number 20. African Jacana. These birds have long legs and very slim toes and claws. This helps them walk on water by spreading their weight on floating plants. Some insects also use this trick. Look at their feet. They're quite scary, like Freddy Krueger's claws. But that's not all. These birds are also noisy. They make loud sounds, like shrieks, moans, and barking noises. Now, imagine a bird that can bark. When it comes to food, they eat freshwater insects, larvae, spiders, crustaceans, and mollusks. They're not picky, and even pick up bugs from animals like hippos, helping both the birds and the hippos. You can find African jacanas in places like Senegal, southern Mali, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, southern Chad, southern Sudan, and Ethiopia. They prefer walking on water, so you won't find them in jungles or deserts. This bird is just one example of how birds can be unique, and there are more interesting ones to talk about. Number 19. Hawaiian Crow. Can you guess where you might find this bird? It shouldn't be too hard to figure out. But I won't get into why this bird is special right away. Mainly because it's one of the few animals, especially among birds, that use real tools. That's right, tools, like a crow using a stick to get food from a hole. It's a simple trick, but it works. Here's the interesting part. The Hawaiian crow's babies don't need adults to show or guide them. They just know how to do it on their own. That's not typical for birds. Now, when we talk about animals using tools, you might think of gorillas. They are known for making and using tools well, but a crow doing it is something different. The Hawaiian crow's diet mostly includes small creatures like snails, spiders, and isopods that they find on tree trunks and branches, but their intelligence goes beyond just using tools. They also communicate using a mix of loud sounds, screeches, howls, and burbling. This noisy communication helps them convey information to nearby birds about potential threats or friendly connections. Unfortunately, this special bird is rare, not only because of its unique abilities, but also because it's extinct in the wild. Humans are the only reason they still exist. Let's hope things change, and these birds can thrive in the wild once again soon. Number 18. The Cebu flowerpecker. If you were hoping for a happier bird story after the last one, you're out of luck. The Cebu flowerpecker is another rare bird, and its home on Cebu Island in the Philippines is in trouble. The island used to have lots of forests, but now, because of human expansion and other factors, most of the natural environment is almost gone. Only about 0.03% of the island's forests are still there today, which is a tiny amount. This change has been hard on all the creatures that used to live in those forests, including the Cebu flowerpecker. Preservation and conservation are really important for Cebu Island. They want to save animals like the Cebu flowerpecker from becoming extinct. However, it's challenging because they don't know exactly where the bird lives or doesn't live. Islanders once thought it was extinct until it was rediscovered in 1992. There are so few of these birds left that much of what we know about them is just guessing. No one has one in captivity to study. There are projects trying to find and help the Cebu flowerpecker, but it's not an easy task. It's important to make progress because if more and more species go extinct, it could make things worse for our world in a chain reaction. Losing one bird might not seem like a big deal, but if it leads to losing more and more, nobody wins in the end. Number 17. Forest Owlet. Don't get confused with the grass-type Pokemon Rowlet. The forest owlet, found in the central forests of India, might have inspired the Pokemon, but it's a real bird facing a tough situation. Sadly, it's endangered, with less than 1,000 mature individuals left, mainly because of deforestation caused by humans expanding into their homes. The forest owlet was even considered extinct for 113 years, disappearing in 1884 and rediscovered in 1997. This shows how much birdwatching has grown. One interesting thing about these owlets is how they try to impress their potential mate. The male offers a lot of food, like dead rodents. If she accepts, they mate. If not, he eats the food and looks for another mate. It's a smart bird, and it's important to protect it from extinction. Number 16. Great Indian Bustard. A big bird in India and Pakistan. It looks like an ostrich with a wide body and long legs. Unlike most flying birds that are light, this one is heavy. The bird has a black cap on its head and a pouch it inflates when calling other birds. It's interesting that this bird is heavy but can still fly. Great Indian bustards eat a mix of insects, berries, rodents, and reptiles. In farm areas, they might munch on exposed crops. They're not picky eaters. Here's a fun fact. These birds are polygamous, meaning males have many mates. They show off their skills to impress the ladies. Number 15. California Condor. While the California condor may not be the prettiest bird on this list, it's one of the rarest and unique in the world. Unfortunately, their numbers declined a lot in the 20th century because of things like chemicals, poaching, lead poisoning, and losing their homes. But there's a plan to bring them back. In northern Arizona, they were helped to increase their population, and now, as of 2020, there are over 500 of these birds in the wild and in captivity. It might not be a huge number, but it's better than being extinct. On the not-so-pleasant side, California condors eat dead animals, and they can travel up to 160 miles in search of their next meal. This shows how dedicated they are to finding food. On a more serious note, these birds are sacred to certain Native American tribes, so it's great that efforts are being made to bring them back. Number 14. Northern bald ibis. It's important to know that when we say a bird is rare, it often means it's in danger of disappearing. The northern bald ibis is an example of this. Even though it's not easy to come across, it's actually endangered. There are only about 500 of them in colonies near Morocco and Syria. It's a shame because these birds look really elegant with their black feathers and bronze green and violet colors on their wings. They're beautiful and unique, and it would be great if more people could see and appreciate them. The problem is, they are critically endangered. These birds start mating at a young age, some as young as 3 years old, but they don't live very long, usually around 15 years at most. That's why they might start reproducing early. We found out about their diet by studying their poop, which is kind of gross, but it helps us understand them better. They mostly eat lizards and beetles, but also small mammals, ground nesting birds, and other creatures like snails, scorpions, spiders, and caterpillars. We hope the population of these birds can increase and become healthy again soon. Number 13. Black stilt. In New Zealand, there's a bird called the black stilt that's in big trouble. A few years ago, there were only about 169 of them left. We're not sure if that number has gone up since then. These birds are easy to spot because they have black feathers, long pink legs, and a thin black beak. The black stilt is in danger because they only mate in one place in the wild. To help them survive, people collect their eggs and raise the chicks in a special place. Then, they release them back into the wild. This is hard work, but it's the only way to save the black stilt from disappearing forever. Even though humans aren't the main problem this time, the black stilt is still in danger because of other animals that have come to New Zealand. So, even if it's not directly our fault, we still play a part in helping them survive. Number 12. Christmas frigate bird. If you go to Christmas Island, you can see the Christmas frigate bird. It's really big, one of the largest frigate birds, with a wingspan over 7 feet. The male has a white patch on his belly and a red sac on his throat that he puffs up to attract a mate. The female is a bit bigger and has a white breast and belly. Now, about their eating habits, it's both interesting and kind of gross. They usually fly over the ocean and catch fish, which is normal. But sometimes, when they're desperate, they bully other birds to make them throw up their already eaten food, and the Christmas frigate bird eats it. It might sound yucky, but that's just how they do things. It's one reason why some birds are called filthy by humans. Number 11. Imperial Amazon. The Imperial Amazon is not in the Amazon rainforest, and it's not a sacred bird of the legendary all-female Amazon warrior tribe. Instead, you can find this bird on the island of Dominica in the Caribbean. It's a cool bird to see if you're planning a vacation there. Both males and females look the same with dark purple chests and dark green feathers with black edges. The bird is about 20 inches tall and has a colourful plumage with a mix of orange and red. It eats fruits, seeds, nuts, berries, blossoms and palm shoots. Its flexible beak helps it move things around in its mouth. Sadly, it's a critically endangered species, but there are efforts to save it, and everyone should be grateful for that. Number 10. Spix's Macaw. Let's talk about a really pretty bird called the Spix's Macaw. It's on our list, and I think it's one of the most beautiful birds in this video. Just look at the amazing blue color it has. Sadly, this bird is almost extinct, and it's not helping that it has faced many problems in its life. It has been lost, found, and sometimes wrongly identified. The Spix's Macaw is in danger because it's losing its home and people are illegally taking it for the bird trade. It's a bit like the blue macaw in the real movies. Remember those? Those movies helped people know about this bird and try to save it. But it's not easy to do that for all the other birds in the world. Number 9. Potu. Watch out in the wild. The weird-looking potu is found a lot in southern Central America and the lowlands of northern and central South America. But sadly, they're losing their homes, and that's really hurting their population. One thing that sets them apart from most birds is that, like owls, they hunt at night. They love munching on insects in the air, which is tough for the bugs. During the day, they sit still in one spot, no matter what. It's pretty strange. Number 8. Tufted puffin. The puffin is a bird that many people know. However, the tufted puffin is in trouble because there aren't as many of them anymore. In the past, you could find tufted puffins in different parts of California. But in the southern parts, almost all of them are gone, and the ones in the north don't have as many as before. This is not good. Alaska's numbers seem okay, but it might not be accurate. On the biological side, tufted puffins are good flyers once they're in the air. However, they can struggle to take off and need a lot of effort to get into the air. Number 7. Hoatzins. Hoatzins are special birds found deep in the Amazon rainforest. They look a bit strange and act in a way that makes them unique among birds. Unlike some other birds I've talked about before, Hoatzins have a peculiar appearance that seems like different bird parts are mashed together. They can fly, but not very well, almost like they are trying but not succeeding. This is because they evolved from dinosaurs and still have some dinosaur traits, like wing claws when they're young. What's really odd is that they're the only birds that eat only leaves. Number 6. Kakapo. Let's talk about a bird called the Kakapo. It's a bit different from the other birds we've seen. When you look at it, you might notice that it doesn't look like most birds. It's a special kind of parrot that only comes out at night, which is rare. The really strange thing is that it can't fly, which was a surprise to researchers. This bird is from New Zealand, living in forests on islands. Sadly, there aren't many of them left, and people in New Zealand are working hard to save them from disappearing forever. The good news is, these birds live for a long time, so there's a chance to help them survive and thrive. Number 5. Keel-billed toucan. Meet the keel-billed toucan. It's like Toucan Sam's relative, though not exactly the same. Luckily, this bird is not in as much danger as some others. Let's talk about its special features, especially its beak. The beak is really unique. It's not just colourful, but it's also 1/3 of the bird's body length. Surprisingly, it's light, hollow, and very strong. This beak is so powerful that the toucan can snip off a hanging fruit, toss it into the air, and then swallow it whole. Sometimes, it even spits out the seeds for its nest. Number 4. Ribbon-tailed Astrepia. The ribbon-tailed Astrapia is a beautiful bird from Papua New Guinea, which is a very diverse place with a lot of different species. This bird stands out because of its striking tail that looks like two ribbons hanging down. The tails can be really long, some even reaching over 3 feet. Unfortunately, these birds are at risk because people hunt them for their rare tails or plumes. Although they're not in immediate danger, their population is getting threatened, especially because their habitat is also being damaged. Number 3. Quetzals. Quetzals are really pretty birds. It's important to make sure they don't disappear, especially when they're the national bird. I'm talking about the quetzal, which is the national bird of Guatemala. It's considered one of the most beautiful birds in the world. The bird has bright green feathers, red underparts, a shaggy green crest, and really long tail feathers. Luckily, these birds are not in danger right now, but you have to go to South America to see them. Number 2. Sulu hornbill. The Sulu hornbill is a very rare bird. Its population is not good right now. It used to live on several islands in the Philippines, but one of those places is gone because people hunted the birds until they disappeared. In 2019, it was reported that only 27 of these birds were left in the whole world. This makes them not just a rare bird, but one of the rarest animals in the world. They are so rare that if you look on the Wikipedia page about them, you won't find a photo, just a drawing. We hope things get better for them, but it will be a tough challenge because there are so few of them left. Number 1. Andean cock of the rock. This bird is called the Andean of the rock, but I won't say it too much because it makes me laugh. It's a big bird from the Caatinga family in South America's Andean cloud forests. People in Peru think of it as their national bird. What's interesting is that male and female birds look really different, like they're not the same kind, but they are. They eat simple things like fruit, insects, amphibians, reptiles, and small mice. We don't know exactly how many of these birds are around. That's it for the bird talk. Did you know about any of these birds before this video? Which one impresses you the most? Let us know in the comments. Check out other cool stuff on the screen, and I'll see you next time.